Welcome to Success Studio Live. We already have comments coming in. Cindy Cohn, oh my gosh, thank you so much for putting in a comment already. Welcome to Success Studio Live. My name is Tara LaFawn Gooch. I'm the CEO of Best Branding Solutions. You are in for an incredible treat tonight. I am interviewing my friend and colleague, who is also a professional speaker, Mr. Wayne Holmes. Now, guys, before we get started, this is an incredible topic. I will just say that. But drop your comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know where you're tuning in from. What country, what state. We want to hear from people from all over the globe. And I know a ton of people were invited to this event. Drop your comments. Let us know. Also, if you're open to connect, use this as an opportunity to expand your network and connect with others. But Wayne, I am so excited to talk to you today because for everyone's benefit, I met Wayne just 2 weeks ago in Washington, D.C., and I watched him deliver the keynote speech of a lifetime, and it was based on his phenomenal life story. Wayne, without further ado, I would love for you to introduce yourself to this audience and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into more of what you talked about in DC with your life story. But introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Wayne Holmes. I've been, let me see, where can I start? I've been speaking for quite a while. Slowed down some during the pandemic, but that's what I do. That's what I've always wanted to do. I found out a long time ago that I was in an arena, especially dealing with the kind of environment I've worked in for years, which is in corrections. I was a prison chaplain. I worked in corrections and correctional uh, institutions, and uh, speaking and trying to empower people in that arena. And and then I was doing what you call it, like men's conferences, and which were incredible feeds both way. I believe I was feeding them, and a lot of times they feed you as a speaker. You just sometimes you step into those environments and you just know that you're in the right spot in the zone. So I've dealt with that kind of thing, especially men in prisons and so on, and 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 I found that that's where my voice has been heard, and the empowering and the building and
Mm-hmm.
igniting people, getting people to focus on growth and fine tuning their lives, improving themselves. It's been it's been a search of mine. It's been a desire of mine, and I've never lost it. So that's where I am. That's what I do. That's what I love to do.
That's
That's why
amazing.
I'm breathing air in this planet right now.
I love it. So you found your purpose and why you're here on this earth, right? Why you were made, why you were created. You believe that you were made to inspire people, right? That you were
Yes.
made, and in some of that is part of it's your story, right? It's where you came from, Wayne, because you came from a place of a lot of hardship, didn't you? And you faced a lot of trials and tribulations in your lifetime. But for everyone's benefit that doesn't know you and doesn't know your story, where'd you come from? What place did you come from? Did you come from a place of rock bottom? Where can you tell us a little bit about a little bit about your journey?
Yes, Tara. Uh, I believe I have hit rock bottom. I did hit rock bottom at a certain point or points in my life. uh, one one phase, one part of my life that was when I was involved in drugs and crime, and it was something where uh, people will always say, "Well, why would you do something like that?" Those are questions that I cannot answer. I don't believe anybody can really answer why they would do such uh, terrible or crazy things. But the fact is, I did get there,
Hmm.
and and it took me further than I wanted to go with it. Okay, and it lasted for years. I was a heroin addict.
Wow.
Uh, and I was not only I was in intravenous user of heroin, and it was. And then we got into it. I was an intravenous user of methamphetamine, and and those things. It just took my life really, really, really far.
Wow.
Uh, to the point where I see it all the time now. It took me to a place where even my own family members uh, couldn't deal with me, and
Wow.
in fact, the drug thing right now is huge. It's huge in this country,
Wow.
and uh, but I can say that I was there. It took me there. It was bad. There was nothing good about it, and uh, fact, just a couple of days ago, I had to deal. I met a young person who was she was got so wrapped up in drugs, and I think possibly overdosed, and um, uh, hopefully that the person can recover. But it really did some damage to this individual. So there's no mercy in that in that arena. It can be a death sentence, but like you said earlier, I was there. I'm very fortunate. I know I'm fortunate to be alive even now because I could have been dead. There were times I almost overdosed, and I remember one situation. If I'm free to say this, I remember one situation where we were shooting heroin. I was in New York City in a house with some pimps, and we were shooting dope. And I shot this heroin, and I began to feel like I was going to pass out
Wow.
with two other people who uh, they did the same thing, but they didn't. It didn't affect them the way it did me, and they got up and walked out and were going to the car. We were in New York. I live in New Jersey. We were going to New, and they got up and walked out to their car. I knew at that moment that if I fell and went unconscious, that I would probably be in the back of some building in a dumpster somewhere and never to be seen again. I had to drag myself out of that person's house back into the car. And fortunately, I got there in time because they were ready to leave me. And so like I said, so there's no mercy in that whole arena, uh, and I see that was just one time where God was looking out for me and protecting me because uh, I'm still here.
Absolutely. People are already liking this story. So again, we're going to share a really raw story today. I have a different LinkedIn live show. So I focus on life stories. I focus on what people have overcome in their life so that we can see that, we can get to anywhere we want. That bridge to success is absolutely possible no matter where we started. And you're hearing Wayne tell this powerful story about being on drugs, right? About being mixed up with the really, really wrong crowd, and how he overcame it, right? So Wayne, through this rock bottom circumstance that you were in, um what changed? What got you out of it? I know, do you want to talk a little bit about a little bit about going into Montreal and facing some jail time there, and how that
Yeah.
helped you deal with
Well, I'll mention that. Yeah. Uh, I lived in we myself and one of my relatives, my cousin, we moved to Montreal, Canada. We went to Montreal, Canada for one reason. Okay. Well, two reasons: girls and drugs. So we,
it.
so we go to Montreal, right, and we end up, involved with some drug dealers. And it's funny. I mentioned the other day when we were in D.C. that these we were dealing with biker gangs.
Yeah.
Now these were not just like ordinary people doing in these motorcycle gangs. Okay, these bikers were lawyers, probably doctors, business people who had money to own big the part of the industry of the methamphetamine business
Wow.
in that city. Okay, and so we were like in war against them. Okay, and so it got dangerous sometimes. Okay, and so and I'm like this little fish in this pond, but I realized later what we were dealing with. And so, but anyway, I got there and started. We were doing a lot of the speed at that time. We even had a chemist who was making it for us, and
Wow.
we were shipping it back and forth to shipping it. We had people in here in New Jersey that was coming to buy it from us. Got a lot of college students and so on. They would buy from us, and uh, and I'm there, and like I said earlier, I'm there. I went there with a 2-week visa to visit, right? And without even paying no attention, after a year goes by, I'm walking down the street and this guy walks up to me and he says, calls me by name, and he says, "Are you ready, Wayne?" And I'm like, "Who is this guy?" And he opens his coat and pulls out his wallet, and it was the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, okay, the RCMP.
Yeah,
And you know how they say the Mounties always get their man.
that's right.
They got me, and they took me to Bordeaux Penitentiary. That's what they call Bordeaux Penitentiary. Around here, it might be like a large county jail or facility, but that's where they took me. And I'm there, and I'll never forget this one experience. I'm sitting there in the jail, and I came out of my cell, and this French guy says to me, "Now here I am. Now I'm out of my mind. I mean, let me explain this. From my life at that time, and this needs to be understood. I was so the methamphetamine had damaged my mind
Mm,
very, very bad. I deal with people every day now who are paranoid schizophrenics. They they they're they're they always feel like somebody's behind them. Others are trying to do corrupt things to them. They can't trust anybody. My mind was so burnt out from doing nothing but shooting the methamphetamine. Tara, this may sound hard to believe, and it's going to be so far out but I'm going to say it. There was a period of time when I literally believed that when I turned the radio on, that the whole world knew who Wayne Holmes was,
wow.
and that my story at that time was being broadcast around the world through radio because, like, for some idiotic reason, I was that important. I guess I don't know.
That's right.
But my point is that that's where my mind was. That's where this drug took me.
Yeah.
And so I've been there. That was insane. And when I got to this jail, as I was saying, and I came out of my cell one day and I looked on this card, the little slot that was in the door, and there was a card and the word was written on this card, malad, Malad, or Malad. It's a French word which
Mhm.
means sick. And I said to this guy, I said, what's that? You know, this guy says to me, he said, do they lock your cell at night? I said, sure, they lock my cell. I'm in a jail. He said, no. He pointed to that. He said, they're not supposed to. He said, they say you're crazy. You know, and the court, that's what they determined. That's how they determined me to be, that I was mentally ill. And they
Yeah.
were right. They were right. I was damaged, seriously damaged, you know. But now watch this. Now I help people with those kinds of situations.
Wow.
You follow me? I know I was gone. I didn't go through any treatment for it. I didn't go through any kind of counseling. I got to tell you, God did this for me, you know, fixed my mind. I was gone, you know. And so my point is, best I can say is that I'm proof that a person's life can turn around.
Absolutely. 100%. You
Right?
saw rock bottom, Wayne, and you don't get much more rock bottom than that.
I can't. My words. Now you got me thinking about what was going on in my life at that time. I know where I was.
Yeah.
I know where I was. I'm like kind of I don't know the word I'm kind of amazed right now when I really think about it, because it's not something I think about all the time anymore. I mean, there was a period of time in my life when I did, but but now I'm way past that. Now I help people in that situation. And sometimes I realize I have hope for people. I believe more for them than they believe for themselves, because I know it can be done. You know,
Absolutely.
and
Exactly.
yeah, I know they can turn it around. And I tell them, I said, when they're going through some things, sometimes I said, you know what, this is only a part of your story. You have something to say to people in this world. And once you overcome this, your voice needs to be heard. And we're going to see, and I can help you see to it that it's going to be heard, because they have something to say. Now, we talked before about purpose. We wanted to talk about purpose. One of the things about this purpose, is that uh, there is a voice. There is a voice that people have that that needs to be heard. But things in this crazy planet are designed to come and shut your mouth so that nobody hears what you have to say. Okay. And so, and sometimes what it takes platforms like this, opportunities like this, or just especially after having overcome and broken through those quitting points, to be able to open your mouth. These are things that needs to be done to set people's tongue loose so that they can begin to tell. There are people out here who have stories that need to be heard, and there are people out here who need to hear those stories.
Yes. Absolutely. I want to go to the comments because Mariette, uh, she's listening from Austin, Texas. She has commented a couple times. She says, "Kudos for overcoming everything you've done and overcome, Wayne. Very tough, but you did it." But here's what she said that really impressed me, Wayne. "You're destined to tell your story so people can learn. This is a huge social responsibility." But Mariette, you're so right on. Absolutely. Thank you so much for commenting on that. Because Wayne, that's something you and I have talked about. You and I have been on the phone together for all week, right? Last week.
Right.
We've been on the phone this week. We've talked every other day. And the main thing that keeps coming back up is the importance of sharing our story. You're so right on, Mariette. That is how we as humans connect the dots. That's how we know if we want to work with somebody. That's how we know if we want to network with somebody, right?
Right.
Now,
Right.
Wayne, she also asked about our keynote address in DC. he had an amazing keynote, Mariette, but the reason why Wayne and I connected it the way we connected is because he shared his story and I shared a little bit of mine. But, the main thing that I saw you immediately, Wayne, it was before any of us spoke, and I was nervous.
Right, right.
I was nervous. I'm not, I'm not afraid to admit it. I was nervous. And I saw you praying with somebody else who is also a speaker, and you were just consoling her. You were just helping her.
She was getting ready to go speak.
Yeah, she was getting ready to go speak. You were giving her a pep talk, but it was so beautiful. And I went up to you and I said, I just want to let you know, I thought that was really nice. I thought that was really beautiful. That was really nice of you to do that for her. And you put your arms around me. You had never met me in your life. You put your arm around me and you gave me that same pep talk. You helped me out. You said a quick prayer with me. It touched my heart so much because we had never met. I didn't
Right,
know you from
right.
Adam. But just that one act of kindness right there, that one act of just, faith, I thought was so beautiful that you would be willing to help somebody that was a complete stranger. And it showed me who you really were and it connected us, right?
And then you went up there, and when you spoke, you killed it. And then at the
I
end,
love it.
and
Thank
at
you.
the
You
end
love
of
it
at
too.
the end of your talk, no, for real, you did. Then at the end of your talk, you made a statement. You said to the host, you said, "This was my first time speaking in public," and I'm like, "Get out of here."
I love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but
That's
but
good.
but back to her Mariette's situation, her statement
Yeah.
when she said that about the huge social responsibility.
Yes. I'll put that back on the screen so everybody can see it.
It's like I'm. I got to say that I'm being refreshed in my conversation with you over the last couple of weeks, and the response right from you and the encouragement. And thank you, Tara, for encouraging me to drill down on this point, on this point about purpose and uncovering these things, because after having told my story and what people deal with, and I'm not an isolated case, okay, but to her point about a huge social responsibility, she makes me realize that she sees the gravity of this kind of problem in people's lives.
Yeah.
And see, we're in a society where people we're and forgive me for saying this, but a lot of times in the media, things are so superficial, and we get uh, locked in to this superficial lifestyle, and even thinking that we don't allow ourselves to not only dig down, but to even understand the gravity of things. But you got, like, even now, I don't know, there may be some mother sitting at home listening to this who has a child that's out here in the streets somewhere being taken advantage of or lost. I don't know about a mother or a father or a family member that's crying or weeping because their child is damaged. And I mean, that's a terrible thing. I know I did that to my mother.
Yeah.
And and I realize, but my point is, there are people who have situations like this, that this is a grave situation, so she understands the gravity of this hour. That's one side of it. The other side of it is that when I say how the gravity of it is, on the other side of that person's situation, there is victory, there's success,
Yes.
there's life, there's reason for living, there's there's change, there's hope. on the other side of that. So, but my point is she understands that, and that points us to why we are here right now, because we have a grave situation. And I thought it was bad when I was out there. It's
Yeah.
bad right now.
It's
Somebody
bad.
has to speak. Somebody
Somebody's
has
got
to
to
speak.
share it. Somebody's got to share it. And who
Yeah,
better to share it than somebody that has lived through it?
right, right,
And that's the purpose. That's the point of sharing our story. And sometimes these hardships that we've went through in life,
right.
they're part of our purpose. Could you be living to your fullest purpose right now, Wayne, without going through all of those hardships, without perhaps, seeing rock bottom, being in jail, being having people think you're crazy because you're so strung out on drugs, to turning your life completely around to the person you are today and now delivering keynote addresses to an audience, uplifting them, teaching them that they have a purpose and a reason for being alive? Could you be living to your fullest purpose without going to that rock bottom state and seeing all those things that you saw?
Well, not to the extent that I think I could do it now. I don't know. I'm just going to say I don't know. All I know, you know what? All I know is this is what we're doing. You follow me? Like
Yeah.
it's strange. If you have a hammer, that hammer, if he had any sense, if he had a brain, he'd only know that I know what I'm good for. I
Right.
know what I'm good for. I'm good for drilling down into somebody's heart who are looking at life like they're ready to pull the plug, ready to give up because there's no way out. And I know that I'm good. I'm good to reach down in there and pull that person, help that person come up out of that situation and turn the lights on for them so that they can go ahead on and live the rest of their life being victorious, being and find their greatness. Okay, find their reason for living, find their light and shine their light that they've been given to shine. You follow me? I know that's what I'm for.
I
I'm
agree.
wired, I've been wired to do that.
Absolutely. And it's about erasing those limits, right? Because
Right, right,
so often in life, Wayne, we feel like we're limited. We feel like life happens to us. We feel like situations happen to us. We feel like because something happened to us, I can't go here now. That's
mm,
too out of the realm. There's no way that's going to be possible. I belong here. I This is where I probably am ever going to go. I'm not going to go past here, right? The narratives that we tell ourselves. But I think it's quite the opposite. When you see rock bottom, and I've had this conversation with a bunch of other speakers who have had incredible life stories and have
right,
seen rock bottom, it's it's been a propulsion for them to be able to encourage mass members of audience because they have such an incredible story. And that
right.
story is like rocket fuel for them
Mm,
because guess what? Out of everybody that exists right now, almost 8 billion people, you're the only person in the whole world, Wayne, that has had your exact story. And if you don't tell it, to Mariette's point, we're not delivering our social responsibility to the
right, right,
world. And that's part
right.
of our purpose. That's why we're here, isn't it?
And you know what? You're absolutely right, and I take it as a responsibility.
Yeah,
I'm responsible for what I have. Okay, and I
absolutely.
and I receive it like that. Yeah,
Absolutely. I love that. But we've got people coming in. There's people from Uganda, as far as Uganda, all over the United States. Ronald from Uganda, Africa. It's amazing how God uses our experience, good or bad, to shape us and empower us to be able to help others. That's
right.
exactly what we're talking about, Ronald. Thank you so much for chiming in with that. So powerful, so true. those experiences that we've had in life, no matter how low we've gotten, you and I have talked about something very powerful, which is the fact that we all have a purpose, but we're the chances of us being born, what is that number, Wayne? It's a huge number. The chances,
It's an incredible thing. This is
incredible thing.
it,
What is that number?
I read this last night. It's you're one. You are one out of what, 400 trillion?
400 trillion odds of you being
The
born.
odds of me being born, the odds of you being born is 1 out of 400 trillion.
Yeah.
That's my brain can't even grasp that.
Nope. But that to me says that if the odds of us being born are 1 in 400 trillion, that we all are here for a reason and for an incredible purpose. And that's so inspiring to me. So
And here's something. Now I'm going to say this. My focus, my mindset, my belief is built on biblical, on scripture, right? There is a place, and there's a scripture that talks about that, where God knew me before the foundation of the world, and how he wired me to be the way that I am. How he formed me, he made me. I think the way that I think because I was made, I was wired this way. You think the way that you are because you were wired that way. And one of the problems we have in this society right now, people want to challenge you because you're not like them. Or what I mean, young people deal with that. And it's and it happens a lot, but it's freeing, it's liberating when I know that I don't think like anybody else.
You're pretty original.
I'm not trying to think like anybody else. I told some people one time, I said, listen, I said, don't feel bad if you have another idea about a way that a certain thing is being done. I said, because everybody thinks about it the same way. If they were right, it would have been fixed already. You know what I mean? But it's not fixed, so they're not right. Maybe they need a new idea.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, but I'm wired the way that I am because my maker wired me like this. He made me this way. Okay. And he made me this way for his purpose. And that's why there's one place in the Bible that says that all things will work together for good to those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. So he is the one that out of 400 trillion, he has given me this purpose. So my understanding of the gravity of, here's something else. My understanding of the gravity of this situation or this time that we're in and this purpose thing, not only it makes me realize I'm not here in planet Earth just to be sucking air up in this planet. I'm not here to just be a spectator. I'm not here to be a victim. I might be here. I'm here to be a solution to some problems that's going on around me. And I refuse to be a victim. I refuse to let anybody make me a victim. Because if you're a victim, you're not going to fix anything.
Absolutely.
You're not going.
You could have been, right? And who would have faulted you? Because
thank God. I'm glad I'm not.
I'm glad you're not either, but you could have easily stayed right where you were. You could have just been in jail your whole life, right? You could have been
perish the thought. Perish the thought.
You could have, right?
Yeah, you're right.
There's so many coulda, woulda, shoulda.
I'm very fortunate and I'm very grateful.
You're grateful and you're purposeful, but because you're so purpose driven, I think
Right.
a big thing. You knew you had a higher calling. You knew you had a purpose. And who goes from being in jail to the chaplain, right? The prison chaplain. Nobody. I don't know if I've ever heard of.
It's not even, I
Not
hope I have
even
time.
a
I'd like to tell you this quick story.
thing. Please,
Okay. I'd
please.
like to tell you this quick story. I have to tell you this. This was divine. Okay. My wife was a secretary at a prison for the assistant administrator, or assistant warden of the jail. He
Mhm.
loved her because she was always there. One time she was sick. She was so sick, she crawled into the office up the stairs just to get to work. And I would go to her job to pick her up at the end of the day because I was pastoring a church in another town. So I'd stop by her job to pick her up. He'd come out and talk to me while we were waiting for her to come out. And he'd talk to me. He would tell me about his chaplains. He had 3 chaplains in there that he would always complain, Wayne, they're not doing this. He said, every time I bring them into my office, they want to have a holy war about what's going on in the jail and who should do this and who should do that. And he would just tell me about the story because he knew I was a pastor of a church. One time I wake up in the morning and I get the newspaper, and there's an article in our local newspaper with the surrounding towns about a woman who was killed in her home by her husband, who walked in and caught her in an affair or something like that. Something sort of like that. But he went in, he killed her, blew the house up, pulled the gas line and blew the house up. And it just so happened this person was one of the key people at this prison where my wife worked.
Really?
And yes, she was one of the key people at this prison where my wife worked. And this assistant warden, like he came to me one day, and no, I get this phone call, right? And he says to me, I'm sitting here in my office and I'm working. I get a phone call, and it's him. And he says, Wayne, he said, I'm going to tell you what happened. He said, you heard about the situation with the young lady, and he named her. I said, yeah, I just saw that in the paper earlier this morning. He said, well, I'm sitting here. He said, last night, I'm wondering, what can I do? I got to fix this situation. The jail is all a mess. Somebody needs to attend to, because they had to deal with the officers, the correction officers. They needed consolation. The inmates who loved this person, or the staff, the place was a wreck. And he said, I rolled over in the middle of the night thinking, what can I do to fix this situation? And he said, Wayne Holmes. He said, you came to my mind. And he said, that's why he called me up. He said, I want you to be my chaplain. I said, I got a record. He said, don't worry about it. I got you. He said, so that's how I got the job in the prison. Just like
Wow. From being an inmate to being the chaplain
that's how I got the
the
job. I said,
prison.
I got a record. Don't worry about it. You got the job.
You see, opportunity knocks. Don't question it, right?
Yeah.
But I love
That
that
was an
story.
amazing situation for real.
Yes, I love it. Such an
Yeah.
inspiration. But where you came from, everything that you've experienced in your life, not many people have, right? So the benefit is that we can see that even if you are at that rock bottom place and you feel like there's no going up from here, guess what there is, I promise you.
Right.
Even if you're not rock bottom, even if you just got knocked down a couple times, guess what? It's only up from here. It's just a matter of perseverance and having a faith, but having the belief that you have a purpose, that you're made for something more, and that all of that hardship that you've had to overcome is just setting you up for becoming the person that you were meant to be. Don't you think, Wayne?
Yes. And not only that, uh, you after a period of time, it should it should occur to you that that manifesting your purpose, it can be done. You can do it on purpose. You do it deliberately. It's not just it's not blind. it is not blind faith. It's deliberate. You know that you have like, for example, I know that this prison culture, not only the prison culture, but what we're talking about, people in this whole arena, you know, and which is bigger and bigger and bigger than I think, because they're families that are hurting. We're all in families. Everybody's in a family, right? And they're hurting. But the thing is, that purpose calls you. You follow me? Somebody said, "Well, that purpose is calling, and it's calling loud
Yeah.
right now, because this world is seeing to it that people are calling out for help."
Yeah. Exactly. People are calling out for help. People
You know,
are
so
wondering.
over the years, my wife and I got other friends. I told you before, I was in a group, this place where I went, the rehabilitation program. I was in a house with like 25 or so guys, and we all went through this program. Now, some guys are like, they're licensed therapists. A couple guys are professional counselors, or I mean, got their degrees, doctorate degrees, or master's degrees, and and so on. We all purposed in ourselves during that time that we were going to get ourselves correct. We meant business. I was fortunate. Sometimes guys go into program and the people in there aren't legit, they aren't sincere. So, and here's the thing: over the years, we have assisted other people over the years. I don't know how many people we have gotten into programs to help them get their lives turned around. We have access to certain programs that we help people with, and so that's what we do. We do it all the time. I've been doing it for years, and I've seen some successes. Once in a while, my wife will mention to me certain people we know. So and so says, "Tell Wayne thank you for helping my son," and so on, because that's what we do.
That's amazing. You're
Yeah,
changing people's lives, right?
right,
Because our purpose doesn't stop with us. It's about how can we create a better impact for the collective, for other people, right? So our purpose is not enough to just help ourselves. It's about how can we make the collective better? How can we make other people benefit, right? Whatever that is, whatever you went through in your life, whatever story that you have that is uniquely yours, use that. That's part of your
right.
purpose. That's all gearing you up to become that person that you were meant to be, so that you can serve the people that you're meant to serve, right? So that, again, we can all become better as a collective, as an entity. But I love that, Wayne. It's so powerful, such an amazing story, such a unique story. But it's a proof, right, that no matter where you came from, whether we have a felony, a conviction, whether we've been on drugs, whether we've hit rock bottom, whatever the case may be, that we can absolutely achieve success as long as we understand that we have a purpose, and to walk in line with that purpose, and to have the faith, right? To have the faith to see it through. I think that's a big thing, don't you, Wayne?
Yeah. Um, yes, absolutely. And I don't know. Your faith. Here's the thing. Like I said earlier, every day you do it deliberately.
Mhm.
Once you find out, once I know where I want to go, then I can every day. I I work hard at keeping my mind on where I'm going.
Right.
Okay, I work hard on focusing my mind on. I can't see it, right? But I know it's there. I walk on like I'm seeing, like there's a place in the scriptures that talks about Moses, how he walked on as seeing him who is invisible. I know what the Wayne Holmes looks like and sounds like, and what he's able to accomplish when he is at his full potential. I know what that guy looks like. See, and that's what I shoot for every day. I go after it hard because
Yeah.
Nobody knows, and you know Tara, right? You know Tara LaFon Gooch. You know what what you know the picture of what she looks like when she's at her best, right?
Yes.
All right. And like I mentioned to you a couple of days ago, it's like Michael Jordan made a statement. He said I don't play against anybody on the court. He said,
Yep.
I know what Michael Jordan, he said, I have an image and a picture of what Michael Jordan is actually able to accomplish. Probably something transcendent, phenomenal. But
Yes.
he said, that's who I play against. That guy is better than anybody on the court, no matter which team he's on. The one that I'm playing against is better than anybody out here. It's almost like an alternate reality. But I know I know what Dwayne Holmes looks like. He's the one that when he's talking, he's able to communicate with that heart that is defeated, that heart, that person that feels like they're ready to check out, they're ready to pull the plug, but he can get down inside that person and cause that person to realize that he is more valuable than he's ever given himself credit for. That there's a value there, there's a uniqueness there, there's something there that's worth saving, and that there's a treasure, that there is a treasure in this person's heart that needs to be mined, and it has such incredible and unfathomable value that we have to bring this thing out. And that's what we want to do. That's where we want to go. And
Absolutely.
because that's people, they are that valuable.
Yes, 100% agree. I love that, Wayne. So you're getting a taste of how Wayne speaks right now, and it's powerful. He will shake you to your core, and you can't look away. You can't turn away from his message. He delivers a powerful message. So just think about Wayne on stage right now, how powerful that is. Even more so when it's an in-person event. He's amazing, just an amazing speaker. Um, and I made a point right after I saw you speak to get to know you, right? I wanted to go out to we went out to dinner, we all hung out, and I got to know you, and I knew there was something very special about you. Part of it is your story, but I can't almost wrap my head around how much courage you have, how much faith you have, how much purpose it radiates off of you. And what you're doing is inspiring people and showing people that they can live a better, more fulfilled, purposeful life. What is more powerful than that? That's inspiration right there. And honestly, Wayne, the world needs more of it. The world needs more of this real stuff, this inspiration, this story.
I
That's
want
what the world is
to I
craving, don't
want to I want to thank you for your encouragement in this, though. You encourage me, right? I
we
told you the
encourage
other
each
day.
other.
I told you the other day how encouraging you are. You've been to me, but you just made a statement though, Tara. You said something about the people who need courage. Listen, that is a major thing. It's people need courage. The guy that has made mistakes, his parents, he doesn't know how his parents feel about him. He's broken confidence with his children or his wife, his family. In the back of his mind, he feels like he's, how people, we often talk about how I can't move forward because I'm rehearsing in my mind what they might be saying about me. The courage, it takes courage to get up and move forward, even while you're under the weight of some of those things. You follow me? And that's a major issue right now in this society, in this time that we're in. Courage is a major missing ingredient for
Yeah.
people to come up out of their situation and move forward with their lives.
So agree with you. So agree with you, Wayne.
So we're talking about the gravity of things. We're talking about the courage that it takes to move forward. Then and the value. The sometimes I'm with a guy and I'll tell him, I said, listen, man, you have no idea how valuable you are. And I
Mm.
look at him and I said, deep down inside of you, I said, you can't even put a price on how valuable you really are. I said, but it's unfathomable, incalculable
Yeah.
value that you have. And I said, we just take the time, I'll help you find it and mine it so you can believe in yourself. You can, everything that you thought about doing with your life, you're capable of doing it. But we can take the time to build on that so that you can become the person that you really know you should be, and that's where people are.
Yeah. Absolutely. You got to meet them at their level, right?
Right, right,
You've got to show people where they are and then teach them how to improve. I think that's so important. And you can only do that by sharing your story, because
right, right,
that's your lived experience.
right,
That was
right.
your roadmap to get out from rock bottom to success, right?
Yes,
So if it worked for one, it can work for all. Why
yes,
not? Or at
yes,
least most.
right.
And we can only do that by being vulnerable, by being a leader, by showing up, by sharing our story. It's our most authentic versions of who we are, right? It's our lived
Yes,
experience. It's
yes,
power personified. It really is. But Wayne, it has been an absolute pleasure. We had people from all over the world join us in this chat today and in this
that's
live
great.
stream.
Thank you.
And this went on LinkedIn, this went on Facebook, on YouTube and Twitter. So people are watching from everywhere. But it's important to know that anybody that's watching this, if there's air in your lungs, if your heart is beating in your chest, you have a purpose and you have a reason for being. And if you're watching this right now and you don't know that you have a purpose, that's the man you need to reach out to. His name is Wayne Holmes. He will inspire you and light a fire under you like nobody has ever done before. And maybe you didn't know you had a purpose, but I'm telling you, every single person is watching this, air in your lungs, a beating heart, you have a purpose and you're made for a reason. And you're
Yes,
1 in 400 trillion.
400
You're
trillion.
not a mistake, my friends. You are made on purpose. Start acting like it. Start living with intention, because you're here for a bigger, deeper reason than what you give yourself credit for every day.
Yes,
Don't you agree? Yes.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely.
Inspiring. We're
And we want to be
inspiring.
part. We want to be part of the architect team to help you identify that and put it together so you can do. If you notice on my logo, there's an eagle
Yep.
flying down, pulling a big fish up out of the water. That eagle is wired. See, this is part of his design.
Yep.
Divine design. He's wired to see that fish from who knows how far away, and to fly down and pull it up so that he can live. And if that bird can be made to do that, how much more you? You are you are made divinely designed to fulfill your purpose.
What a wonderful way to end our show tonight. Thank you so much, Wayne, for your wisdom. But reach out to Wayne, connect with him. He's new to LinkedIn, everybody. So make sure you connect with Wayne, send him out a connection request that he would gladly accept. But he's also available to speak at events, right? And he wants to get his message out there to a large audience. So this is not the first and last time you're going to see Wayne. Trust me, you're going to see him going forward. He's going to be on a lot of stages coming up, and he wants to get his message out there to a wide audience, to a lot of people. So yes, we have to walk in our purpose. Latanya's chiming in. Whatever it is that God has called us to do, Beautiful. So people are responding to your
Yes,
messaging.
yes, I see
Isn't
it.
that wonderful? But
Yes.
I told you this would be a welcoming community for you, that you would have nothing to worry about. How was your first LinkedIn live show? Did you like it?
I'm stoked now.
I told you it'd be great, right?
I'm
I
I'm
told you
stoked.
there was nothing to worry about.
But I do want to say I want to thank you for allowing me to talk to you on this platform.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Anytime, my friend. You know where to
really,
find me. But
really.
thank you for everyone who tuned in today, from who watched from all over the globe. We
Yes,
appreciate each one of you. You are all special. You all have a purpose. And I hope you walked away with some insights
I hope
today.
so.
But
I hope
again,
so too. I hope
yes,
we help
reach out
somebody.
to Will.
Be
We
encouraged.
love to connect. Yes, I love
Yep.
that. But thank you so much for everyone. And we will catch you on the next show. And have a blessed day. Take care.
Thank you so much, Tara.